I think we're live.
Yay.
Yes. Okay. So, hi everyone on my group Discover Your True Colors, and hello to everyone that is watching this on replay on YouTube. Uh, wait. Let me get off from here. Um, okay. Hello everyone. I'm Mara Marquez, the Intuition Queen, and we have and my co-host is.
Elvira Hopper, the Miracle Mindset Coach Healer.
So this is our weekly episode live, and we have called the show Conversations Outside the Box because we want to talk about conversations that are a bit difficult to talk about oftentimes, maybe just topics that are not that easy to share with other people, and we want to help you to feel comfortable with it, and we want you to share your experience with us if you have any, and tell us a little bit more if you resonate what we're saying and whatnot. And we're also going to talk from our personal experience, how we have managed to overcome obstacles and heal ourselves and move forward.
Nice.
So yesterday, we were chatting and we decided to talk about how growing up in certain families and the words that we are being told as children is still affecting us sometimes. Things like you're too much, or you're not good enough, you're this, you're that, and how we don't realize how this is impacting us deeply until we release this. But it's a big and longer process.
Yeah.
So we're gonna share our stories, and you're more than welcome to share yours and tell us a little bit about you, and if what we're saying makes any sense for you.
Amazing. Yeah, and I want to add on. First of all, what a joy to be here with you, Mara, and to be sharing this with your group and the world. And I love the idea of the conversations outside the box because it's very applicable to what we're chatting about today. Being raised Italian Catholic in a patriarchal society where we had to show up a certain way. We were second class citizens. The men were always more important. You just grew up thinking that you were less than. And so the conversations are outside the box are because we were able to break free out of that paradigm, to live our truth, to be the amazing women that we are, doing incredible things on the planet. And we want other people to do that as well, primarily women, but men too. If you were held back by family beliefs and what they told you were, to break free of all that crap and just go and do your thing, right? So we're breaking out of that box, right? You and I were blessed to break out of that box. There's people that are still living in that box. I can only stretch so big because I don't want to be criticized, right? Well, excuse my French, fuck that noise,
Yeah.
like you don't have to go along with it. And you're the rebel and I've been a rebel, but not as a kid. You were a rebel as a kid. I was a rebel. Yes. I pissed off my parents, primarily my mom, a lot because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. But I was also the good little girl that felt she had to be the people pleaser and the imposter to
Mm,
be accepted and loved. And that just brought a lot of pain. So now I'm able to be my authentic self. I'm able to heal, and I shed another layer with you just the other day with your beautiful reading. And constantly on the personal development journey, because if we're not growing, we're dying. So
yeah.
I choose to be on this path and do my inner work, and I encourage everyone else to do the same, because any other way is really living unconsciously, and you basically go from one fix to another fix, numbing out on things because you don't really know yourself. You're not really doing the deeper work, and you're pointing fingers at others and making them bad, and you escape through all sorts of things, whether it be eating or drinking or shopping or exercising to excess or sex with strangers, like whatever you need to numb out from your feelings.
Yeah.
We believe, I know I'm speaking for you as well, that you've got to do the inner work. You've got to get really clear on who you are and let go of what you're not. All the layers of shame and blame and guilt and all that crap that doesn't serve you, so you can show up and shine in the most beautiful way, because that's what you were brought here to do. So yeah, wanted to say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No, that's perfect. That's exactly what we're here for. And there are way too many people that might start to do their own things. They might start to go against what, the family or society,
Yeah,
whatever, say. But then if you haven't done the inner work, those things are going to catch up on you.
yeah,
And yesterday we're talking about specifically the things that we used to hear from our parents about ourselves and how those things have affected us. And you mentioned, the wooden spoon, which was a way for
oh,
our mothers to,
control us.
control us and make
La
us stop
cucchiarella,
from
la cucchiarella, yeah.
exactly from make us stop from doing things they didn't want us to do, or from crying, or from
Mm,
chatting too much, and which is something that this cannot happen in the times we are now. But if you
yeah,
grew up Italian, that's kind of something that happened.
typical, typical, yeah, yeah,
But how we don't realize how those situations have affected us and have affected how we see our power, how we see ourselves in
yeah,
terms of, can I shine that bright? Can I say my truth? Can I express myself 100% and just shine my light? And
yeah,
oftentimes this means no from
yeah,
within you, because there is a fear that something's going to happen to you. You might disappoint someone, you
yeah,
might
yeah.
make your parents angry, and you might get beaten
Mm-hmm.
because you're just being yourself. And this
Yeah.
is a message
Can you
that I
imagine?
feel, yeah, we all
Yeah,
have
yeah,
received down the line at some point. You're too much, like
yeah,
you I know
yeah,
my mom used to tell me that I was a rebel because I never wanted to do what she
yeah,
wanted me to do, because for me it just didn't make any sense.
yeah.
And
You were smart. You were
the
smart.
more
Yeah.
you shouted, the more she shouted at me, the more I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
uh, and but again, I was probably in a way, my personality made me do things anyway.
Yeah, you
But
were
I
brave.
paid all of them. I paid
Yeah.
all of them. And growing up, and I think that when you start your own business, you see those things showing up more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then you start to ask, oh, can I really do this? Can I really
Yeah.
be in front of a camera? Can I really charge this much? Can I really do this? And all of the doubts that we have, they all come from how we perceive ourselves and how we have stopped ourselves from being ourselves when we're
Yeah.
younger.
Yeah, absolutely. It's conditioning, right? It's what we were raised with, what we heard that's gone into our psyche, our subconscious mind that holds all the stuff that we've ever heard, right? So you're, I'm a certified hypnotist. I believe you are as well. And NLP, is that right? Is that one of your
No, I'm not.
modalities?
I'm not an hypnotist.
Oh, okay,
You're
okay. All right.
confusing me with someone
Yeah,
else.
okay, okay. So, well, you have so many modalities just like me. But yeah, so as a hypnotist, I know that our subconscious mind carries all the stuff, and we have to really do the inner work, and that's what allows us to reprogram our minds so that we are living authentically, because as kids we were beat up for being authentic. We
Yeah,
were beat up for being ourselves, right? Like,
yeah,
how screwed up is that, right? Like, you just
yeah.
think about it now, it's like, who would do that to a child? But you know what? Back then, control was very important. Like being Catholic, right? The Catholic Church, controlled us, right? We had to do what the Catholic Church said. Like, oh my God, I cannot relate to being Catholic anymore. Like the Pope's in Canada right now, and I just like, sorry, I don't want to offend anybody, but that's just because I was traumatized by Catholic teachings. I was traumatized by seeing that God is out there and it's a God. I need to be God fearing, and otherwise I'm going to go to
Right.
hell. And
Yeah, 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 yeah,
that
yeah,
is so
yeah.
heavy, and it's in my subconscious, but I've brought it to the surface, and implanted new thoughts and new beliefs. And Love Your Vibe is a system that saved my life when I was at rock bottom, where Catholic teachings didn't work, and anything else, all the other personal development didn't work. I got Love Your Vibe, and it's now become a world movement because people are using it to help others on my platform, as well as their own system, which is beautiful, to be able to share all light workers and all their stories and messages and magic. And I just got to say that, you know, sorry, there was a point I was going to say there about Catholicism. Oh my gosh, it's escaping me now.
Gonna come back.
Yeah, it'll come back. Yeah. So
It
do you
will
want to
come
say
back.
anything about that? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I did my whole thing, the communion and the other thing, the christening, and then I said to my
Yeah.
mom, and that's it. Like, and I'm not going to church anymore. This thing that
Yeah.
people
Good
force
for
me,
you.
I don't know. For me, it was like I always hated to be forced to do stuff,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for me, it just
For
I
sure.
couldn't relate to anything they were saying,
Yeah.
and I just dropped it. But luckily, at least my mom, because if I was born my auntie's daughter, she would have forced me to go, but
Yeah.
my mom didn't say anything. But I grew up in that. My grandfather used to go to church, to work to church when after he retired. So that really strict, as you
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
earlier, very patriarchal. Like the
Yeah.
man tells you what to do,
Yeah.
and you do it, and you need to respect your parents,
Yeah.
even if your parents treat you like
Yeah.
shit. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. You have to respect your
They're
parents.
your parents. Yeah. That's
And
in the
this is
Bible, right? Honor your father and mother.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. And but there isn't, they don't talk about respect, like, yes, I respect you, but you respect me, so it's a mutual
Mm-hmm.
kind of respect. It doesn't mean that you have to tell me and beat me up because I don't do what
Yeah.
you want me to do, just because, I don't know, I'm eating at 5 o'clock and I should be eating at 7, or things like this.
Yeah.
Silly stuff, because it's
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
about silly stuff. And how those things affect us. I always work, like you mentioned, you're a hypnotherapist. I work with emotional healing. And
Yeah.
what I always find out when I work with my clients is there is always something from your childhood that is coming
Mm-hmm.
up.
Mm-hmm.
There is always something that you haven't seen, or you have worked on, probably, like you, but at some point something is going to come up, especially when you're trying to level up in your business.
Yeah.
That fear of not being good enough, or
Mm-hmm.
not wanting to disappoint someone, or maybe to feel like, I don't want to feel greedy and want more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's all things that have been implanted in our mind because of the way we grew up. And we're here to really break free from this. There is
Yeah.
really no limit
No
to what
limits.
we
Yeah.
can create, how many people we can help, how much joy, money, and abundance we can create for ourselves, and then obviously help others. But if we work with this restricted mindset, or with those subconscious beliefs that surround our show, then it becomes difficult to be able to do that, even when you have a dream or you have a vision of where you want to go that is so
Yeah.
powerful. But
Yeah.
there are still things that hold you back. And so it's really necessary to understand where exactly are those things, where exactly are those limitations, what
Yeah.
words are you still hearing
Yeah.
playing out in the
Yeah.
background, and
Yeah.
really remove those.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're in our cells, right? Like, these are traumatic events that stay in our cells, and we have certain mindsets. I'm only allowed to go so far,
Right.
we need to, really examine them. And this is why entrepreneurs need to do the inner work, because if they don't do the inner work, their businesses are going to fail. And sometimes families fall apart when businesses fail. So we're super passionate to help entrepreneurs do their inner work, and I believe everyone should do it, but we're specifying entrepreneurs because of your group right now. And it is just so critically important, and you don't have to do it alone, right? When you
No,
lock arms
exactly.
with someone that has your back, you have a safe space, you get to explore, and I couldn't do it without all my coaches and mentors and moving forward past my limited thinking, my limited, because, you know, even though I've done a lot of inner work, things still come up, right? You
Yeah.
shed one layer, there's another layer. But at least you're on the path and you're not living unconsciously, and you keep up leveling and up leveling. And, you know, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? So you have to constantly grow. And I just thought of what I was thinking of before. So I was talking about Love Your Vibe, and Love Your Vibe wasn't that, you know, Catholicism says God is out there, right? And it's very patriarchal. There's only men priests and there's no women, and, you know, it's just very, very like low vibration, very toxic. There was a time when I was a kid where Catholicism did help me, but when I was at my rock bottom, nothing helped me. None of the programs I'd done, Catholicism, I wanted to die. I literally was ready to die. I thought my one and only child was better off without me as his mother. That's how low I got, because it was depression, anxiety, and panic disorder for two solid years. And I didn't want therapy, and I didn't want meds, you know, no disrespect to anyone using those modalities. But I hit rock bottom, and I realized when Love Your Vibe started coming through, I realized God isn't just out there.
Yeah.
God is in me. God is in you. This is why the Hindus bow and say namaste. The God in me honors the God in you. So that one shift to that belief, honestly, I came out of my darkness. Depression, anxiety, and panic lifted naturally. I didn't need meds. I didn't need therapy. It was a mindset shift that allowed me to take back my power. So, I mean, this is how powerful this work can be. And for me, it saved my life. So now it's
Yeah.
my duty to share it with the world. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, like, well, we talked about my experience with my mom and how, you know, you forget about things. Like, I forgot how fearful I was that she could potentially sabotage my life. That's been a fear for me since I was
I
younger,
bet.
because that's what she would always do to me, like all the times. Like, it was always that. And when I moved to London, over the years, I forgot about this. And then I came back and it was right there in front of my face. And I'm like, shit, okay, it's time for me to deal with this. It's really time for me to step up and be like, okay, it doesn't matter what you say, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you do. I am my own power, I am my own light, and I'm going to use it for the best. And if you're not
Awesome.
happy with that, that's it. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's your
That's so
but
powerful.
the thing is that, like, and I've seen that with friends that have started the journey. When I started the journey, um, there is this need for safety, obviously, and security. So money is one thing. There is this need for love, and whoever has the family will retract to family. And if you have your own family, you might feel safer because it's the family you have chosen. You have your child, your children, and all of that. You have your spouse and everything. But if you don't have that kind of family, oftentimes a lot of people retreat back to their family, even though those families are toxic.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to do the work, because you then are able to stand up for yourself, and you no longer need to go back, even
Yeah.
when you find yourself in situations where you feel alone. And I often talk to people, especially now that we are in this era where we're traveling so much, and you know, the digital nomad kind of thing. But that also means that oftentimes, you know, you struggle to make connections that last. And if you move countries all the time, like, you make friends, but how deep is that friendship? Can you trust, and can you rely on that person you just met? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And a lot of the times when I work with people, they tell me they feel lonely because they have nobody to talk to, because they're
Yeah.
always focused on the business. And this is where it's important to do the inner work, because otherwise you're going to go back to a place that fakely feels safe. And when you get to that place, that you're going to realize that it's not safe, it's making you feel even worse. And what it's happening is, like, those people are trying to put you back in the box
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you try to escape. You had managed to escape, you were creating stuff, but at the moment you go back there, it's over. You don't have the
Yeah.
energy,
Yeah.
you don't feel
Oh,
appreciated. And so this is necessary, because otherwise that's how you get into wrong friendships, wrong partnerships, wrong romantic relationships, and all of that. And that's when people start to be like, okay, I give up, I don't know, whatever. I'm just gonna stay and do the good girl.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, what came up for me while you're saying that, so well said, Mara, is that yeah, unless you learn some do some deeper healing and connect to self-love where you can actually stand on your own, be authentic, and it doesn't matter, the tribe you came from originally, because if they're not in alignment with you and don't agree with you, you get to create a new tribe.
Yeah.
This is what I get to do, is I'm showing up authentically and people find me, and I'm, this system that came through me has become a world movement, and I'm part of this incredible community of light workers that want to help humanity. And honestly, these are the people that I love most in the world, because we're the same. We want to help humanity, and we're consistently doing our own inner work. And my family is there and I love them dearly, but I don't have to listen to what they say.
I,
Sometimes they see me and they're like, wow, that's really good. But then they just brush it away and go on to something else. I don't expect to be seen by my family in what
yeah.
I do. I just know they love me and I love them. And there's a phrase, or a quote that's, I don't know who said this. If anybody's watching, put it below. But no one is a prophet in their own land. In other words, you're never going to be seen as someone important in your own family, right? Or community, let's say, right? So you have to break out of that to do your thing, because they're used to seeing you a certain way and you show up for them a certain way, and you're not that empowered. You're kind of staying in that box,
Yeah.
like for example, I have a birthday in a couple of weeks, a big one. And my mom just said to me today, Elvira, I want to throw a party for you, because it's a big one. I'm turning 60. And so the day I'm coming back from Antigua, because we're going there to celebrate, my beautiful husband's taking me there. The day we come back, the next day, she wants to have a party for me. And I was like, sure, Mom, thank you. That's very sweet of you. And I'm just thinking, like, I'm just going to go there, and they love me, I love them, but I don't expect anything from them, because they don't get what I'm doing and they don't care. And but I'll ask questions of them, because that's who I am. And I'm not upset about it, right? Like, even though we're going to be celebrating my birthday, I don't expect them to say, so Elvira, you're doing this really big thing in the world, tell me more about it. I don't expect them to do that, right?
Yeah.
So when you have zero expectations about your family of origin, then you can just keep moving forward, and you're going to attract the right people that see you, that resonate with you, and you get to create community, and you let go of the people that don't see you. For example, I had two best friends of almost 40 years. I love them to this day. They're beautiful women. I love them. But when we were in high school, one was in grade 8 with me, the other one was in grade 10, and we were like in each other's weddings, saw each other's babies being born, like with each other for the longest time. And they knew me when I was a crap magnet. When I lived out of alignment, I first worked in a hospital lab for 7 years doing cancer research, then 20 years in big pharma. And they knew me when I lived out of alignment. And they were my dear, dear friends that were there to support me when I was in crap magnet zone, right? Where I was always having problems because I lived so out of alignment. My marriage nearly ended 3 different times. Like my life was not good, right? And they didn't even know when I was in depression, anxiety, and panic. They said, we didn't even know. I said, yeah, because I hid it behind a smile. So they didn't even know I was struggling. And I didn't have the courage to tell them, because my ego said, nope, you've got to look good. You
Right.
can't share. So when I had a breakdown and then a breakthrough where I became, I guess more enlightened. I don't know if I'll ever be fully enlightened, but we'll shoot for that star. But when I did this inner work, when I realized who I truly was, when I had to leave, corporate because I had no alternative, became a coach, became a healer, became a professional jazz singer at the age of 51. Guess what? They couldn't see me anymore.
Yeah.
They could not relate to what I was doing, because I had gone for such big dreams that it triggered them.
Yeah.
And they were like, who are you to do that? That they didn't quite say it that way, but that's the energy I felt.
Yeah.
And one of them said to me, I don't know what to do with you anymore. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know what to do
Wow.
with me anymore? Or not do with you, do for you anymore. Because she was so used to fixing my problems. Now that I didn't have those crazy problems and I wasn't living in trauma drama, I was like just a happy person. She couldn't relate. She was used to being the fixer, right? She was used to being in male energy. And so I said, what do you mean you don't know what to do with me anymore? Love me, love me, that's it, right?
Stay with me.
But yeah, but it was so hard for her that, slowly and slowly we started to pull away. It took a couple of years, but we did. And then my other dear friend, I launched my jazz album, my first jazz album at Jazz Bistro, which is a big world-class jazz venue here in Toronto. She showed up for it, but didn't even acknowledge me on stage. I saw her talking to my mother the whole time, didn't even acknowledge me on stage. And afterwards, I was like, yeah, this is not kind of
Yeah.
cool. This is my biggest dream come true, and you could not see it. And here's the thing. She was a child prodigy violinist and pianist when she was a kid. She never did anything with her music. So when she saw her best friend on stage at Jazz Bistro,
You trigger her.
I
Yeah.
totally triggered her. She couldn't deal, and I didn't feel like it was a safe place because I didn't feel like I could grow within that
Mm-mm.
friendship
Mm-mm.
because I wanted to go even more. And now I've, sung for celebrities with celebrities. I just did my first international jazz festival this past weekend. It was incredible. People were crying. It was so amazing. But had I stayed in those relationships, Mara, guess where I'd be?
Yeah.
Inside the box
Inside the
because I
box.
had to stay
Yeah.
small for their comfort. Fuck that. I am never ever going to be small for anybody. So the people I have now in my life, they see me. You're in my life. You see me. You're in my inner circle, right? You know who I am. I know who you are.
Yeah.
And these are the things that happen when we do our inner work. We let go of the people that aren't meant to be in our life and we attract those that are meant to be in our life. Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. If those people ever need a kidney, I will be the first one in the hospital and give my kidney to them because I still love them. I just can't have them in my inner circle.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think this is something that happens to so many of us, and too many people. If you haven't worked on the codependency, you will still continue to try to have a
Yeah.
friendship with people that need to fall away from your life. I had a
Yeah. Yeah.
similar experience when my dad passed away. So I was always in the group when I was in London. I was always the one, trying to up level in my career, making less money than my friends, not having university and master degrees, and therefore always following behind. And when my dad passed away, uh, they were not able to be next to me. They just didn't know what to do with me because
Mm.
obviously I shut down completely. And what I needed was love
Mm-hmm.
and someone to be with me and
Mm.
support me instead of being the one supporting others all the times.
Yeah.
So that slowly, and when I signed up for to do my coaching course, and then I became a coach and I started to go to the States to work with Jack Canfield and do this,
Mm.
that's when I could see it was like, oh, but who is this person that now is doing all of those things like
Yeah.
bigger than what we are actually doing?
Yeah.
And I could see it was just like they were trying to get their attention back on themselves. I was like, you know what? You
Mm.
couldn't be there for me when I needed you the most. And
Yeah.
now, whatever
Yeah.
happens in your life, I'm actually not interested. So we
Yeah.
can kind of, and then some of them moved countries, so it was easier to lose contact. And with some others, I was just like, sorry, I'm busy. I
Mm.
have no time right now.
Yeah.
But it was that situation where you could see that things were slowly changing. And
Mm.
instead of having friends that were like, oh, yeah, we'll support you, or you need help now, you need love, you need to just, be
Yeah.
comforted right now, it was kind of like, oh, now she's not the happy person that she's normally
Mm.
is. So I don't know what
Yeah.
to do with her.
Yeah.
And because I was like, I don't want to hear your problems, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you having an argument with your boyfriend because you just moved in together, it's not a problem. You haven't lost a person, you haven't lost your
Yeah.
father.
You were grieving and they weren't
So,
there for you. That
right.
must have been awful.
Well, I had other friends that were there for me, and one actually became my best friend because of that.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
I always say to my clients, you need to let go. And it's,
Yeah.
I know sometimes it's difficult, but there are situations where sometimes you really need to strip off of what it's not serving you, because
Yeah.
you have to evolve, and you evolve with
Yeah.
healing. And the more you heal, the more
Yeah.
you realize that, yeah, okay, you have attracted someone uh, because you were in that vibration, and as you move
Mm-hmm.
forward, you're gonna attract something better. Like
Mm-hmm.
this year and a half that I've been in Italy now, and I'm moving back to London,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm leaving behind. I've been feeling lonely this year. I haven't been able to meet anybody that could give me that energy that I
Mm.
want, that connection. We connected. I mean, it's great to
Yeah.
always connect and
Yeah.
like stuff, but I wanted someone physical. And
Yeah.
I said to myself, it's okay. Like the universe is helping you not to get attached to people that don't and won't serve you in your life,
No.
because you're meant to be somewhere else right now. Like you've done what
Yeah.
you were supposed to be doing here in
Yeah.
Italy, and now it's a time for you to go back to London, get back with your 2 3 friends left that you have there, and create a new group of
Yeah.
people. So I know this is scary, but going back to what you were saying, God is within us. And
Yeah.
when we are in those moments where people don't see us, people are not with us, and don't know what to do with us, well,
Yeah.
that's when you need to go back within and
Yeah.
connect to your intuition, connect to your soul, to your God, to the
Yeah.
universe,
Yeah.
whatever that could be,
Yeah.
because you're not alone.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Brene Brown has a great book. I think it's called The Wilderness. And she
Mm-hmm.
talks about the fact that only when you are comfortable being yourself can you be in community, right? So you've
Yeah,
got to do that inner work on your own. And then the right people will find you.
yeah,
Not just anyone. Don't just choose anyone, because that's codependency. You need to
exactly.
show up a certain way for their comfort. No, that's not cool. Just be who you truly are. The right people will surround you. And yeah, so I've loved this. I know we're just over half an hour. Any final words, Mara?
Just that if you're feeling that you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling alone, probably there's something that your soul is asking you to work on.
Yeah,
And tune into yourself if you can, if you're able to. And if not, reach out to someone. That could be me, that
yeah,
could be Elvira, that could be someone else.
yeah,
But we are in constant evolution, and our evolution can only get bigger and grow if we do the work.
yeah,
It's very
absolutely.
important, and that's how you expand your life, your business, whatever it is that you want.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And a quick shout out to you. You do the color reading. Is that what it's called? The color
Yeah,
color therapy. Yeah,
color therapy,
and
girl reading.
yeah, and you did an amazing reading on me the other day, and it's up leveled me for sure. Hearing your intuitive downloads, and my colors, red and magenta and gold, and I just feel so empowered by what you shared that day that I'm showing up differently, and I think that's really important for entrepreneurs is to really own who they are so that they get to be the shiny star, right?
Yeah,
And of their life. So I just want to give a shout out to you. I
thank
highly
you.
encourage people to sign up for that.
Thank you. I'm happy that you feel better, you feel more empowered. That's what I want to
Yay!
achieve whenever I do those sessions. So yes, you're a
Amazing.
powerhouse.
Oh, thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you, Mara. So
Thank
are
you.
you. All right. So thank you to everyone who's tuned in today, and whoever's watched on YouTube. Leave us comments. Let us know what you think. And yeah, until next Wednesday,
Next week,
Mara.
yes,
Yeah.
we'll have a new topic. So if you also want to suggest topics, if there is anything that is going on in your life that you cannot talk to
Yeah.
with people, feel free to send us comments. We will be happy to pick up a topic and talk about it. And as usual, you can catch us live and be with us, make comments live on my Facebook group, Discovery Tree Colors. You see the link in the comments. Otherwise, you can watch this and replay, and we'll come back to your comments whenever we have time. All right.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.